Hello everybody, it's time for maths. Right, today we are going to be doing something a little bit different, and we've done it at school before, so most of these lessons are going to be revision lessons. I'm just going to say hello to a few people who are here already, which is really great to see. Issa, you were first in, and loving the fact that you've called yourself Da Boss. Who else we got? Ian's here, and Sahil's here, and who else have we got? Parisa. Who is Salman Anwar? Morning, Charlie. Morning, Chedza and Hamayan. Morning, Khadija. Brilliant. Right, okay, so morning, everybody. I know it's a beautiful day outside, so thank you for staying inside right now. And I hope you've got up and done Joe Wicks and got a bit of exercise into your body, and you're not sat there in your pajamas eating a bagel. Hamayan, just saying. Okay. Today's going to be about, it's going to be fairly simple, but it's important that we do this because the lesson next week, which I won't be teaching you live, but I will actually put online for you, will be converting fractions to decimals, as I said yesterday. This week, it's important that you understand how that works and the maths behind that, the maths that make it possible to divide fractions and make them into decimals, okay? So I'm going to show you what we'll be doing, and we'll go through it really slowly so you've got an idea of the concepts behind it, and we will go from there. So we're going to be converting fractions to decimals, but we're going to be using base 10. Now, for anybody who doesn't remember base 10 is just a place value grid. It's what we use on a regular basis to ensure that we understand completely place value. So at the beginning of every year, we do quite a long term on using base 10, and we're going to look into that a little bit more. But what I want you to do first is I want you to look at these calculations, okay? I want you to look at these calculations, and on your pen and piece of paper, I want you to work out what you think the answer to these calculations are. So I'm going to give you a minute or two just to look at these calculations. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong at this point, but I want you to look at these calculations and tell me what you think the answers are. Okay, so I can see some of you putting that they're really easy. This is year 5 questions and everything else. What's really important is not that you think they're super easy. What's important is that you understand why they are those numbers. So the reason this is a starter, so if you look at the top of the screen, this is a starter. I would expect that at this stage you know how to do that. But the reason I've started with this is because I really wanted to delve into how this works. So if you didn't quite understand it, that's absolutely fine because we're going to quickly go through it and how it works now. Okay. So if we just take the first one as an example, I'll show you the answers because it's important that you see the answers. But if we take the first one as an example and put 1 divided by 10, okay? I'm going to draw myself a little place value grid. So on the screen, you'll see a little place value grid which has got ones, tenths, hundredths, and thousands. Now, some people will put units where the ones are, but actually, as a school, we decided that ones what we were going to use, because actually that's the name of them. Okay. So if we look at how this works, and a lot of you in the comments have said, well, what's base 10? What does that even mean? But actually, you know what it means. What you don't know is maybe the name of it. So base 10 just refers to how we look at things. So I'm going to put 1 in my ones column. And at this stage, I have no tenths, no hundredths, no thousands. And in those gaps, there are infinite zeros. So it goes tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000ths, and there are infinite zeros. So those zeros go on and on and on. To the left of the ones, okay, we have tens, hundreds, thousands. Obviously, it's not on the screen. But in those, there is infinite zeros at the moment. What we do know about division is if we're dividing something, we're making the number smaller. So the number that was once larger becomes smaller. Okay, so it means if it becomes smaller, we are going to the right of our place value grid. Okay, so we're going to go to the right of our place value grid. And we're going in powers of 10. Now, if you think back to year 5 and you think back to when we were doing powers of 10, and you go, and we're going left. So it goes ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. What that means is that each column to the left is 10 times bigger than the column to the right. So 1, 10, 10 is 10 times bigger than 1, 100 is 10 times bigger than 10, 1,000 is 10 times bigger than 100, and so on and so on and so on. And powers of 10 just mean that every column we move to the left or to the right goes in tens, is 10 times bigger if we go to the left or 10 times smaller if we go to the right. So what that means for this place value grid in front of us is that actually ones are tenths are 10 times smaller than ones. Hundredths are 10 times smaller than tenths. Thousandths are 10 times smaller than hundredths. And it goes on and on and on and on. Now you're probably thinking, well, why does that even matter? Because I know the trick. I know how this works. I know that if I count zeros, that's how many I'm going to move it. And that's absolutely fine if you know the trick to it. But this is the maths behind it. The maths behind it is saying that actually, if I'm dividing by 10, it is going to be 10 times smaller than the answer that's there. So in this case, yes, I've got 1. It is 10 times smaller than 1. So I'm going to move all of my digits 1 place to the right because it's 10 times smaller. Okay, and that would give me the answer of 0.1 or 0.10. Now, a lot of the time people go, well, do I need to include that extra 0 after the hundredths, or do I need to include the 0 in the ones column? So after in the hundredth column, absolutely not. It doesn't matter because they are infinite zeros. And in the ones column, while it doesn't matter, it's good practice to put it in. So 0.1. And the reason for that is if you're in a test, then and you're writing 0.1, it's sometimes quite difficult to see that actually the point, and it might look like you've put 1. So just as best practice, put 0.1 or whatever the decimal would be. Okay. Now, in practice, the reason it's called base 10 is because actually the base of all of these numbers is 10. Okay. But I want to show you what that looks like in practice. So I want to show you that why 1 divided by 10 equals 0.1 or 1/10. So let's look at the calculation. Let's imagine I have 1 big bar. This is my bar model. I've got a bar. It's just one whole number. But then decide I'm going to split it. I'm dividing my 1 between 10 different people. So I'll split it into 10 equal parts. I've now got 10 equal parts. My 1 hasn't changed. I've still got 10 equal parts. Okay? That means that each one of these parts is worth 1/10, okay? So it's worth 1/10. But that also means, if I go back to my previous slide, and I'll go back to it quickly, if you look at the name of the column that the 1 is in, the bottom row of digits that the 1 is in, it's in the tenths column. So 0.10, the 1 is in the tenths column. Therefore, not only is it 1/10, it's also 0.1. So if I was to add all of those 0.1s up, that would equal 1. Okay? If I was to add all the 1/10s up, that would equal 10/10, which also equals 1. So the reason that we call it base 10, and the reason that we can understand dividing fractions into decimals, is because actually they're all equal parts. But in base 10, it's all related to the numbers. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we become our 10. But base 10 is to do with the power of 10 each time we move to the right or each time we move to the left. It's the reason that we use all of the Dean's cubes lower down the school, and it's the reason we can use bar models today. All right. So far, it's fairly simple. And I understand if you don't quite understand it, that's brilliant. It's because I'm hoping that you're sitting there going, I'm not 100% sure, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to double check this, because later this video will be available, and also I'll put an audio version available for you too. So it's not going to be that you can't look back at this, and if you don't understand it, you have to sit there and not know. You can also message me on Dojo and I can help you through it. This is the starter, and it's important that we've done this starter because this will lead on to how we do things in the future and how we convert any decimal into a fraction. But we're going to go through it, and I'm going to take you into the main part of the lesson. And as you can see on the right, there are some steps for you to follow. So if you're not following me because it's not quick enough, I'm not slow enough, that's fine. You can pause it later and you can have a look at the steps and you can do it yourself. Okay. Who can tell me in chat what the bar means between the 10 and the 100? So we've got 10 100ths. What does the bar mean between the 10 and the hundredths? Who can tell me online? Well done, Hamayan. It means divide. So the bar in the middle there, it means to divide. So it means we can divide something. Now, the number at the top is called what? What's the digit at the top of that fraction called? What's the digit at the top of the fraction called? Well done, Hamayan. Well done, Issa. Well done, Unhygienic Banana, and Yassine, and Jagir, and Sophia. So the number at the top is the numerator, and the number at the bottom is the denominator. Now, this is important because the numerator is the number we're going to put into our place value grid, and the denominator is how many times we're going to move it to the right when we're dividing, okay? But this calculation actually just means, this fraction just means 10 divided by 100, okay? So I've got my fraction, I'm going to rewrite it as a number sentence, which is 10 divided by 100. Now, I've obviously made a digital place value grid, okay? I don't want you to be going online and creating your own digital place value grids. You need a scrappy piece of paper, a pencil, and that is it. It doesn't need to have straight lines. It doesn't need to look beautiful. It doesn't need to do anything. It just needs to serve a purpose. And the purpose in this case is just for us to be able to plot numbers on it and work out how many times we're going to move to the right when we're dividing. Okay. So looking at this, I've rewritten on step number 3, where I'm going to write my numerator digits in the correct place value. Now, my numerator digits are 10. So I'm going to put 10. So I've now got my numerator digits in. This bit is the important bit, and it's the bit that sometimes people confuse, okay? So as you can see, I'm going to look at my denominator, or in my number sentence, I'm going to look at the second number. I'm going to see how many zeros are in my second number. So in this case, I've got 2 zeros. And that's how many times I'm going to move both of my digits, which are now in my place value grid, to which way. Which way am I going to actually move them? And why? So in the chat, which way am I going to use them and why? Which way? I'm going to move them to, not to the left, Hermione. As I look at it, which way am I going to use them? Not to the left, because left would make them bigger, wouldn't it? It'd make the numbers larger. Yep, down to the right. So I'm going to move them to the right because what's the reason? Why am I moving them to the right? What does division do? Well done, Issa. So when you're moving to the right, it makes the number smaller. So the reason I'm going to the right is because I know that I'm going to make this number smaller. 10 divided by 100 is going to make it smaller. Okay? Well done, Khadija, for getting that right as well. You scrolled past me really quickly and I didn't quite get to see your name. Sorry. So in this case, I've got 2 zeros. Going back to the question, I've got 2 zeros. So I'm going to move all of my digits 2 place value places to the right. So I'm going to move my 0 first, which is 2 places to the right. And then I'm going to move my 1 2 places to the right. And just because it's good practice, I'm going to put in a 0 placeholder. So as you can see, I've followed the steps, and each of the steps tells you exactly what you've got to do. So at this stage, it's fairly simple. But all of this is going to lead up to us being able to do any fraction into decimals next week. So let's have a look at another one. We've now got 8 100ths. What does 8 100ths mean? Who can write me the number sentence on the chat now? Well done, Khadija. Well done, Parisa. Well done, Jagir. Well done, Yassine. Well done, Abdullah. And well done, is that Noreen, who's sweaty rice? And well done, Kaimane. Right, so, yes, it means 8 divided by 100. So I'm going to put my 8 in my ones column, and I'm now going to look at how many zeros are in my denominator. So my denominator has 2 zeros, which means I'm going to move it how many spaces and which direction. How many spaces am I going to put it in? Am I going to move? And which direction am I going to move in? Well done, Parisa. Well done, Dowd. Well done, Sahil. Well done, Khadija. Well done, Alina. Well done, Sophia. All right, so we're going to move 2 places to the right because we've got 2 zeros. So I'll put my 8 in. What do I need to make sure that I have now in my tenths column? What do I need to make sure I have in my tenths column? Right now I've got nothing in my 10th column. What do I need to have? Well done Parisa, well done Chedza, well done Abdullah, well done Noreen, well done Unhygienic Banana. Yep, I need to have a 0 placeholder. So in my 10th column, I put a 0 placeholder. And because it's good practice, I put a 0 in my ones. Okay. We're going to do one last one, and then I'm going to get you to do some of your own. You can post your answers to me on Dojo or in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe because I won't be on next week because I'm actually in work. So I'm teaching next week. So lots of my videos will be put up, but they won't be live. So subscribe and make sure that you are aware that they're going to come. And then we'll go on to the next one. So we have 15 over 1,000. So step 1, 15 over 1,000 means I'm going to rewrite the calculation, which is 15 divided by 1,000. Okay, 15 divided by 1,000. And I'm going to put in my 15 in my tens and my ones column. So I'm now on number 3, which is writing my numerator digits in. How many places am I going to move it to the right? How many places am I going to move my 15 to the right? Well done, Khadija. Well done, Noreen, Sahil, Hamayan, Umar, Arvin, I think that is who's X-Flame, Abdullah, Momina, Amane, Charlie, Chedza. Oh, it's going mental. I can't say all of your names. Yep, so we're going to look at the zeros, and we see there's 3 zeros in. We're going to move it 3 places to the right. My 5 goes 3 places. My 1 goes 3 places. I need to make sure I have a tenths placeholder, 0 placeholder, and I have a 0 in my ones column, just for best practice. Okay, that is pretty much the input of the lesson today. And I'm aware that some of this will be easy for you because a lot of this is referring back to year 5. However, it's clear from the comments that some of you are absolutely 100% secure on it, and that's fine too. All of the lessons I'm going through are lessons that we will have done in the year group and stuff that you can do at home. If you're not 100% sure, message on Dojo, have a look at the videos, and carry on. And challenge yourself to be secure in lots of these things and keep your brain active. Okay? I'm going to put up on the screen some chilies now for you to do at home. You can either put them in the comment section below, or you can message me on Dojo the answers. Along with that, there will be a second question, which I'll put on right at the end, just before I say goodbye. Make sure you subscribe so you know that lessons are coming online. And also make sure you like each of the videos because that means more and more children will be able to see it. Okay, so I'm going to put on the next part. And I want you to challenge yourself with the one that you think is going to be the hardest for you. All the answers you can put below. And I'll speak to you. Okay, so hopefully you've managed to get at least some of those done. If not, the video is going to be online in a little while for you to go back on and have a look at. Try and message your answers and make sure that you do them, because it's difficult to motivate yourself. I understand that, but the more that you do now, the easier it is likely to be when we return to school. For those who are asking when we're not in, when we're going back to school, I can't answer that question. It's down to the government and when this horrible situation is all over. Okay. The last thing I want you to do, and the last challenge I want you to do, and I want you to send me this as a picture on Dojo, is I want you to draw a bar model to represent the decimal 0.23. Okay. So draw me a bar model to represent the decimal 0.23. Send it to me on Dojo, or you can put it on the class story, however you want to do it. But I'd really like to see a bar model that represents the decimal 0.23. Thank you again for joining in and for taking part. While I can and while I'm allowed to, I will continue to I'll definitely continue to put videos on. If I can, I will live stream as much as possible. The next live stream is going to be a week on Tuesday. So not next Tuesday, the week after that, okay? However, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week, I will be putting a video on for you to look at, for you to do some work with, and for you to challenge yourself with. So once again, thank you for taking part. Subscribe if you haven't already, and like if you haven't already, just because if we can get as many people to watch it as possible, then hopefully not many people will miss out too much. Okay. Remember, if there's something you really don't understand, send me a message and we will absolutely try as hard as possible to make that lesson for you. Okay, so have a great day today. It's supposed to be the hottest day of the year, so make sure you're playing outside if you can do, and have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week. Take care, everybody.